Okay, let's start again. All right, so we're continuing in the mimer of the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak of holy, blessed memory. And this was said in 1942, when he was already in America. He had escaped in one of the last boats from Poland, and he made it to America 2 years earlier. And this mimer is talking about the giving of the Torah. What exactly did the Jews get when God gave the Torah? We know the two bases of Judaism are God took the Jews out of Egypt, and that two of the bases of Judaism. God took the Jews out of Egypt, and God gave us the Torah. And another one is that God creates the world. There's 13 principles of faith. You ever done 13 principles of faith? Anyway, so God took us out of Egypt, and God gave us the Torah. We mention going out of Egypt all the time in the getting of the Torah. Incredible miracles that no religion even claims that there was something even vaguely like that God actually took a whole entire nation out of bondage, goy mikirav goy, and he brought them to in the middle of the desert, a mountain, and he spoke, appeared, panim lepanim, it says, diber Hashem aleichem. God spoke face to face with all the Jews. They all saw, they all felt, they all knew, their souls jumped out of their bodies, it says. Amazing experience. Ask the Rebbe, what was it all for? The whole thing was, at first glance, a big waste. Abraham knew the whole Torah before it was given. Abraham knew the whole Torah before it was given. And the Rebbe doesn't say this, but I'm saying it. All the other religions are based on one person receiving a book or some sort of an arousal or a dispensation or a revelation or finding tablets or something. One person, and he drives everybody crazy, and all these religions are tremendously successful with millions, hundreds of millions of believers. And then you got Judaism with this amazing story that God, the creator of the universe, personally took all the Jews out of Egypt and provided them food in the desert from heaven and split the sea and then gave them the Torah. And we see Judaism is not so successful at all.
Actually, you can't count how many Jews there are. You can't.
We're not talking about counting them. We're talking about what percentage of the Jewish people.
But there are hundreds of Jews. You can't count everybody.
Yes, we're not counting them. But listen, if you can't count the Jews, then you can't count anybody. I mean, there's a certain number of. It's true, the Jews, it says,
there's
are like
an infinite amount of
stars
people
of the
in the world.
Not infinite. Let's not go overboard. There's not infinite. There's not even an infinite number of grains of sand in the world. What?
Who says we're not successful?
Huh? No, we're here. Of course. I'm not saying no. God forbid. I'm saying, but how many people really, believe in Judaism? How many, people? How many people? Let's take another religion. How many people that they claim? Let's say, take an example, that they're Protestants and they hate the Protestant religion. They go against it, right? That they say, I am a Hindu, and Hinduism is ridiculous. Here we have Jews. I'm Jewish, but Jewish religion is foolish. They have a right. Where do we get such weird aberrations like that in Judaism? Why don't we have Judaism like all the other religions? Abraham received, it says that Abraham knew the whole Torah before it was given. So he could have received it. Don't put it on the and given it down like all the other religions, given it down to, let's say, his son. He had 3 sons and given it down. And then that passed down to the 12 tribes. And they became the elders or something. And that's it, and then that's Judaism comes from. Why it worked for everybody else? Why does Judaism have this story? So the question is a good question, right? The question is a good question. If Abraham had the whole entire Torah before and it was known, so he could have passed it down to people. What did he have to have this whole thing of going out of Egypt and receiving with lightning and thunder, an amazing revelation?
Just like everybody else.
Okay, so what? Everybody
received it. Everybody knew we received it.
But we see it didn't work. We see it. Everybody got it, right? Yeah. So you figured everybody should be enthusiastic, and they're not.
The kids like it.
They're not. They're not enthusiastic. I mean, they were enthusiastic. They weren't enthusiastic when they got it, right? And after they got it, Moses said, do you remember that God told you? Do you remember that? Yeah, I remember something. I mean, it was really something, that giving of the Torah. But
I remember when
now
we
I'm bored,
worshipped the golden calf. There was death didn't exist. Then when we worshipped the golden calf, we worshipped the woman.
Not a woman. What are you talking about? No woman. Let's go.
Someone told me that's
included. Keep away from that person. Let's go. Bezeu, that's what it means. We are now on paragraph 3 of this mimer, page 102.
It's Dalit?
Dalit. No, Gimel. Yes. First word, top of the page is 102. And the first word on the line is Mizbeach. So Abraham realized God on his own. And he started passing it down to the whole world about what God is. V'zeu Elias Avram, that's what it means that Avram went up, is by the means of Yitzia, going out, mehametzarim v'gavulim, of the limitations and boundaries, the inyani olam of the matters of this world. In other words, the world did not have a negative effect at all on Abraham. Abraham wanted to fix up the world. He wasn't trying to get out of the world. He wasn't trying to remove himself from the world. He wasn't trying to show the world, everyone, that this world is a big mirage and it's a big fake out and it's just a product of our minds and etc. No, the world really exists. Really, really exists. And God creates the world every moment. And man is here in order to reveal this fact to the world. That everything in the world is a miracle. And that the biggest miracle is that we're here to reveal the purpose of everything in the world. Every bug, every ant, every this. Okay, a lot of things you don't have to do anything. You just let them be. But you have to deal with everything the way that God wants you to. And that's what Abraham revealed. In a short way, you can say that everyone in the world was selfish. And Abraham revealed it's possible to live a life and not be selfish. Some people wanted to go to heaven, some people wanted riches, some people wanted spiritual riches, some people, but everybody wanted something for themselves. And Abraham revealed there's a God, a creator, he's creating us, we should be really thankful to him, and we should do what the creator wants. And if you want to be selfish, you can do it. God certainly did give us that option. But our purpose is to be here to fix the world. Let's go a little further. We'll see. Abraham was not affected by the world. In other words, what Abraham relinquished his selfish, ulterior motives, like they call it. Liot holech v'nasoa negba. That Abraham went, he said, southward. Which southward is referring to Sphira, one of the attributes of God. And that is the attribute of God which is called chesed, kindness, or love. V'yadu, and it is known. This is where we're starting today. The chesed, okay, now this is a little bit Kabbalistic, so try to keep this in order. Chesed, Abraham wanted to increase in this aspect of chesed, of love, loving God. Now, what does it mean to love something? When you love something, the thing has to be real. It has to be perceived, valuable to you. It has to be valuable. Something that can be real, but it's not yours, it's not valuable to you, then you don't love it. Right? Something that's very valuable, but it's not yours. It's not meaningful to you. They don't love it. Right? There's some people that are crazy about motorcycles. You give them a nice big Harley, oh, they're crazy for it, right? They just love it. Their whole life. There are people like that. And why not? It's a nice thing, right? There's other people that could care less. It's a nice thing. It's a nice thing, but they don't love it. If a thing, in order for you to love something, it has to be real, and it has to be yours, and it has to be valuable. It has to be valuable and meaningful to you. Meaningful to you. Right? How much more so people, right? People. You can only love a person if you see something valuable in that person. Now the question is it valuable to me, or is it valuable in general? Is it valuable, right? You see a human being. He's got life inside of it. Is life something valuable? Well, I don't know. It's not valuable to me. I don't know who he is. I once saw an interview with a mafia hitman. Why I watched this thing, I have no idea, but it was interesting. So they asked this person, how many people did you kill? And he said, I don't know, about 25 people. He said, no. I watched that a little. I couldn't stand it. That person was just too incredibly sick and disgusting. I watched that for maybe like 3 minutes. Anyway, this guy, he was a mafia hitman. He hit other people in the mafia. At least that's what he claimed. Anyway, so he said, or people that crossed the mafia or whatever that is. So he said, did you ever enjoy one of the things? He says, well, one time I owed somebody money, and they came to my house. I wasn't there, and they beat up my wife, and I found them, and I killed them, and he said, I enjoyed that. He said, well, I mean, you were mad at these people because they hurt your wife, but you hurt a lot of other people. He said, oh, I didn't know them. I didn't know those people. He said, but those people had wives, they had families. He showed him a couple pictures of people. His pictures, I just didn't know those people. In other words, what he didn't know wasn't real. What is it relating to me? That's like real ultimate selfishness. Right? And it's ultimate. They say that what's in Mangala, Yamach Shamo, that he was a doctor who murdered people and tortured people and all sorts of weird, horrifying experiments that he did. And on people in the Holocaust. And he came home and he ran over his dog by accident. And he cried, he wept. Because it was his dog. It melt something. And the other people, they were just, patients or whatever they were. Jews, whatever. So if something is meaningful to you and it's valuable to you, then you can have love for it. There's selfish love. There's bad love, like this person, right, loves, right? And then there is genuine love. What does it mean? He loves life. He loves beauty. He loves honesty. He loves, right, harmony. He loves. So that's love. Abraham loved God, the Creator. He wanted to love the Creator of the universe. God creates everything there is all the time. He creates human beings. He creates life. He creates animals. He creates plants. He creates the stars, the skies. Everything is moving. It's a big miracle. But he wanted to increase his love of God. So it says, Abraham, in order to do that, you have to go out of yourself. You have to go out of the Egypt. You have to go out of Egypt, Mitzrayim, limitations. You have to go out of loving yourself and the ridiculous implications of loving yourself, like these murderers, and come to really love the Creator. Loving the Creator also means that you feel you have a responsibility to the Creator to improve the creation. But this idea of love, who sheruta da alma iloah. This is what's called the beginning of the upper worlds. Now, this word sheruta means beginning, but it also means service. Serving, shirut. Sheruta da alma iloah. This is the beginning of the upper worlds. Love. Amika v'tamira, hidden and concealed, deep. Ad raza de Ein Sof, until the secret of Ein Sof, the secret of the Creator himself.
We're not talking about
Well, one second. We'll get to that. Very, very good. Very good. Let's just say, for instance, now we're talking about the first level of Hashem. The first level of God, that God creates everything. Right? To be in this world and realize there's a Creator, it's not so simple. There are very tremendously genius and sensitive people But they've looked at the world, they looked at all the books, they looked at the Torah, they looked and they conclude there's no such thing as God. There's no such thing as God. Spinoza was the famous one, right? There's this power, this amorphous sort of power, right? The Hindu sort of idea of whatever it is, that exists, but it doesn't care. There's no God that really cares, that creates everything for a purpose. Uperish almi ilah, that's what it means, the upper world. This is the beginning of the upper world, is love. He's Sfirat Bina. This is what's called the aspect of Bina, understanding. Now, there are the 10 Sfirot of God, the 10 spheres of God's personality. This is called the secret of faith. Why do we have to say that God has a personality? Because if you don't, you get to idolatry. If you don't, you make God so far away that God is not caring, doesn't care. So you can get to one of two options of that. Either you can get to idolatry, who's going to take care of me? Or you can get to just atheism, not care, just live your life best as you can. You call the shots, you write your own Bible. You decide what's good and what's bad on your own, which is okay. That's a nice idea. But eventually, so who says that Hitler was wrong? Who says that, what is there such a thing as wrong and right or not? Who says? Who says there's no laws whatsoever? No laws whatsoever. No, there's that statement. There's no such thing as truth. You do whatever. That statement you just made. There's no such thing as truth. Is that true? That statement. There's no such thing as truth. Is that a true statement? So it's self-contradictory.
Is this related to the idea of anarchism?
What?
Is this related to the idea of anarchism?
Anarchism.
Is this related to that?
Something like that. Anarchism is like a system of government, if you want to call it that. It's an ideal government, according to some people. Like monarchy means there's one ruler, and anarchy means there's no ruler. Let's learn. The beginning of the upper worlds, is what's called Bina. Usfirat Chesed. Now, why is it Bina? Because Bina is the beginning of building. The world is built with Bina. Bina is what's called the mother that sits on the eggs. Bina. Bina gives birth to all the 7 emotions. Bina. So that's the beginning, is this level of Bina. What's Bina? Understanding. Or in Lush, it's saying simple language, practical language, contemplating. Right? Every person is made in the image of God. What does it mean? God has this aspect of Bina. That's the beginning of the upper world. We have the aspect of what's called understanding. Understanding means sitting down and thinking, what is really going on here? What is really going on in the world? Is there a God? Is there not a God? What's going on? That's philosophy already. That's the great philosophers. They sit down and they think, right? Kant, Leibniz, all these people, they sit down and they think, right? What is really going on here in this world? Aristotle, what's happening now, right? How does this world work? What's going on? So it says Judaism also has the same thing, but Judaism has a different basis, right? Judaism is, what's so funny? the Michelangelo picture is sitting. Okay. So a person thinks, he removes himself a little bit from the world and he sits and he thinks. The aspect of a love, imiyoto, even though it is, mivav katsavot, from the 6, what's called the 6 directions, or the 6 emotions of God, of what's called zer anpin, the small faces of God. Now, the emotions of God, another name for the emotions of God, God's kindness, God's severity, God's beauty, God this, that's what we count in Sfirat Omer, to connect our emotions to God's emotions. That's called the 6 directions, up, down, vav katsavot, up, down, right, left, front, back. And it's also called zer anpin, the small faces of God, Kabbalistic names. So Chesed is one of them. Nevertheless, Rishona, it is the first of the 7 days of creation. Chesed, it's called the day that goes with all the other days. Shemakabelet mi alma ilah, it receives from the upper world, which is called Bina. So in human being, understanding, thinking, contemplating, that's Bina, understanding. That gives birth to Chesed, the first of the 7 emotions, love. Thinking properly gives birth to love. If a person thinks properly about what's going on in the world, he comes to the conclusion that everything is God's kindness. Everything there is God's kindness. Ukede'ita b'zohar, like it says in the Zohar, Eat melech, there is a king, le'ela, above. Raza, this is the secret of Kodesh Kadoshim, the Holy of Holies. V'kohen, and there is a Kohen, Mishamesh Tachtoi, under him. Raza the Or Kadma'a. This is the secret of the primordial light. What is this talking about? What's it talking about? The Rebbe explains. Kodesh Kadoshim, this aspect of the Holy of Holies, this is the aspect of Bina, understanding. Removing yourself from the world. Thinking, contemplating. What is really happening here? What is Rebbe? Contemplating, it's in Chassidut, it's called Hitbonanut. Hitbonanut means essentially solving problem. Hitbonanut, you solve a problem. You have a problem, you don't know how to deal with it, you sit and you think. That's called Hitbonanut. You remove yourself. Try to see the whole entire picture. You think, that's called Hitbonanut. Right? Do you want to figure out how your car, what's wrong with your car? Hitboner. People go to medical school, they go to law school in order to approach problems properly. A person comes in, doctor, my arm hurts. A person comes in and says, they're suing me. He says, what? The doctor wants to know all the details. He sits and he thinks, this is the problem. The lawyer thinks, this is the problem. Right? That's called hitbonanut, to think. Abraham had a big problem. What is the meaning of the world? Is there a meaning to the world? Is there a creator of the world? Is everything just accidental? Can it really be that everything is just accidental? What is keeping everything in creation? What is being? How does being exist? Where does it come from? How does existence exist? Where does existence come from? Maybe you can say the world was created 1 billion years ago, whatever it was. Good, but how does it exist right now? What is this thing called existence? Is there a purpose for existence? What is consciousness? Why do I have this free will? What's going on in this world with all of my emotions? What am I supposed to do with love, with fear, with... So everybody else in the world thought to themselves, what the heck do you care about this? What are you drinking a cup for? The main thing is to get the most out of the world as you can, live as comfortable a life, go according to your nature. Go according to your nature. Some people like action, so they go in for the Colosseum. Some people like arts, so they go in for the plays, for music. Some people like to be quiet, so they go quiet, they go to a desert island. Some people like, do whatever you like, right? Do your thing.
Some people like writing.
People like writing. Some people like singing. Some people like this. You do everything. You do a little bit of whatever you want, and then you just keep it up, keep occupied until you die. It's not bad. You can do that. There's big, tremendous philosophers, especially the French ones, that they say that's it. That's the whole picture again. Abraham said, maybe there's more to it than this. Maybe there's a creator. Maybe there's a creator that creates everything. And maybe there's a place for faith, emunah. Emunah. We see if faith works good in business, right? Business, you have faith in a product, you have faith in yourself. Maybe we got faith in God. Maybe God cares. And Abraham, little by little, started realizing not only does God exist, but God is really good. And there's something there to love. Okay, Herschel. The Or Kadma. This is what's called the primordial light. He Sfirat HaChesed. So he says that there's Holy of Holies, and then there is the Kohen, the priest, that serves in the Holy of Holies. The Holy of Holies, that's this aspect of Bina, understanding, contemplation, being removed from the world. And what comes out of it? The high priest, that's kindness. The high priest's purpose is to give blessings. That's the aspect of kindness, love. Umipenesha Kohen. And since that the Kohen, Medregoto, his level is chesed, is kindness. Kohen, Medregoto is the level of kindness. Chesed is the last word here, chesed. Mishamish, he is able to use, to work in the Holy of Holies. That's why it's called Sheruta. That's why it's called the service and the beginning to Alma Ilo of the upper worlds. To Al Yedei Shirut, by means of his service in the Holy of Holies. In other words, as far as we're concerned, going into your understanding is your Holy of Holies. Going into your understanding and beginning to grasp this idea, maybe there is a God. Maybe I'm supposed to do something. Maybe I have an obligation to the creator of the universe. Maybe. Al Yedei Shirut, by means of this serving God, Nimshecha Hashpa, there is drawn down a blessing, Mi'al Me'ilah, from the upper worlds. God reacts to what we do. Very, very essential point in Judaism in general, and Chassidut especially. And that was what Abraham wanted. Huh?
You're also saying that God reacts to
No, okay, true, God reacts to what we think, but
sounds like that's what you say.
yes, but the thoughts have to come into action. That's the point. That's what it says. There is the Holy of Holies. That's this level of understanding. And then there's the Kohen that comes out of it. That's love. And love should bring us to action. Should bring us to do things. Right? A person that loves his children but he doesn't feed them. It's ridiculous. Right? It's ridiculous. But he really genuinely loves his children. Well, he says, listen, I love my children and I fed them, but it's not nice to say, but they go to the bathroom and it's dirty. I don't want to see my son dirty like that. So I don't give him food. And then when I don't give him food, so he becomes very spiritual, very holy, and very this. And he's also much quieter in the house, doesn't make any problems. Doesn't make any problems. That's ridiculous. That's insane, right? That's insane. So love has to come out into action. True love, it has to be coming into action. If it's possible to come into action, right? There's love that it can't. There's no way it can't be done into action. But even though, let's say, a person as a mother, a father, they passed away, and he really loves them. A teacher, he thinks about them, right? So it arouses love. But that love is supposed to bring to do something better, to be a better person, to be a better, ideally.
Of course it's true, but you were just saying that you go inside your body and God reacts. It sounds like that also God reacts to everything.
God will help you. It's true. God helps a person.
Of course you have to bring it into action.
That bringing it into action is also, you need the help of God. But that's right, yes. Listen, the fact that we can think about God, this is a miracle from God. The fact that we can come to think about God and we can think properly, it's also a miracle. Man is being created. We're being created all the time. So everything we have is being created from nothing. But God created this one weird thing, which is called free will. It's a creation of God. God creates it all the time, but it's totally independent of God. A person can decide whatever he wants to. If he wants to rebel totally against the Creator, that's part of the creation. It's part of the parcel of being created in this world. Right? Right. That's right. Yeah. And that's what it is. But this is the whole story of the Bible. What's the story of the Bible? God creates man. Man sees that he's being created by God. A few hours ago, he didn't exist. But he looks at his stomach, there's no navel. There's no umbilical cord. He knows that he came from God, no doubt about it. What does Adam do? First, after a couple hours after he's created, he uses his free will, and he does it in a wrong way. There's all sorts of explanations why he did it, and it wasn't really so bad, and it was really just a bad decision, and it was a bad judgment, and etc. But nevertheless, it was terrible.
But God wanted it.
God wanted the ability for him to do it. And he did it. These are things we can't understand.
It's hard to understand God's will.
Listen, we have the Torah. We know what the Torah says. There are tzaddikim. There are people who are tzaddikim, that they're genuinely attached to God. From these people, we can take an example of what God's infiniteness is. But one of the things of the tzaddikim is, take a simple example. No one knows who's going to go to heaven or not, right? They don't know. You don't know, right? If perhaps God tells a person, it could be a person the last minute of his life does something wrong, and all of a sudden messes the whole thing. So this is the thing. Let God do something. Let God take over, but He wants you to be His partner. You can't just say, I'm going to do whatever I want, or let the God do whatever He wants, or I'll do nothing. I'll let God. There has to be some sort of a balance, and that's the whole idea of what life is. So it says Abraham wanted to put one ingredient into everybody's life, and that's called love. Loving the Creator, appreciating the Creator, doing things for the Creator out of love and appreciation. Okay, let's take a little break.